To the soul with Archie B. Mike. Anthony's here too, let's ride the hype. Bigfoot's on the run, Area 51's tight. Digging deep for truth, we ain't afraid to fight. Black Earth theories got us spinning wild. JFK secrets hidden in the files. Illuminati whispers, flashing crooked smiles. I won't tune in, sit back and stay a while. Conspiracy chaos, we uncover the lies. Deep state shadows, yeah, they can't disguise. We're cracking codes, watch the truth arise. Let the chaos reign, tearing through the skies. CIA plots under moonlight schemes. Hidden agendas ain't as crazy as they seem. Voices in the dark amplifying dreams. Conspiracy chaos, nothing's what it seems. Follow the breadcrumbs, follow the light. In the rabbit hole with us, pitch black night. RGB and Mike, guided by our might. Anthony with wisdom, out of sight. Conspiracy chaos, we uncover the lies. Deep state shadows, yeah, they can't disguise. We're cracking codes, watch the truth arise. Let the chaos reign, tearing through the skies.
Let's go. We're back at it with another episode of Conspiracy Chaos. My name is RGB. Joining me as always, we got Florida Mike in Area 51. Anthony, what's up, fellas?
What up, boys? How we doing?
Good.
Awesome.
Ant, what's up, bro?
Raj, what's going on, dog?
Not much, man. Gonna get a little into the paranormal tonight. Joining us, we have Damien and Nicole. Guys, what's going on? Appreciate you guys jumping on.
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah, thanks so much. And I just gotta say, like right off the jump, I love the intro song.
Yes, thank you.
And you end it with that clip of like moon landing, world's greatest hoax, and I'm like, I've got some thoughts on that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, feel free to jump in on any conspiracy stuff, man. If we always break it off. We don't have to necessarily go down the paranormal route. I mean,
That's why it's chaos.
Yeah,
We start with the
it's
topic
chaos.
and we
Yeah.
never finish with that same topic. That's
Yeah,
for
man.
sure.
we're the same,
Great.
brother.
absolutely,
Yes.
man.
But you guys do the podcast, The Real Ghost of. You guys, I listened to a couple of them. I got to finish your most recent series you did. I got up to part 2. I didn't finish part 3 yet. So don't spoil anything for me on that one and keep the listeners waiting. But really cool how you do it as well. How you guys do the investigation and then follow it up with the podcast. It's really cool concept.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But let's start from the beginning. How did you guys get into the paranormal?
Shit. You want to go first?
Yeah, I think both our stories are different, but also kind of the same.
They're
when it
wildly
comes to
similar,
How
but-
we started the podcast.
Yeah, wildly similar, but also wildly different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll go first just because of the nature of this podcast. It's funny, getting started in the paranormal for me literally came from being in the conspiracy theorist world. I grew up in a time where, I don't know if any of you guys have read the old book, Behold a Pale Horse, William Cooper, you know, and I remember when I saw a video of his and it was JFK, like the whole Zapruder film, and you see his driver turn around and it looks like he shoots him. And that was like my first sort of like rabbit hole was like JFK, right? And getting into William Cooper and all these guys, that inevitably leads you to the world of cryptids and the paranormal. And from there, as an inevitably, yeah, it does. It really,
I'd have to agree. Yeah.
when
I get it.
like, oh, there's EB, the gray that they have in Area 51, and all of a sudden you're looking into grays and aliens, and they have telepathic powers. Like, whoa, what is going on here? It literally leads you to ghosts and ghouls and goblins and cryptids and everything else that is right in the world, you know. So from there, I accidentally started collecting haunted items because I'm an oddities and antique guy as well. And my very first time I went to an estate sale and there was a lady that was like, oh, well, this item here is actually haunted. And I was like, get out of town, right? And so I literally picked up this item and it started from there. And now we have a museum of haunted items. We have
That is what we are coming to you live from right now. And it's also our other podcast, Pair Peculiar, which y'all would vibe with because it's
You'd like it.
weird. It's the
Okay.
weird.
Oh yeah.
2-hour deep dives with interesting people. I'm going off the rails, right? And I'm talking about like literally lizard people living on the moon, creating
The moon being
ghosts, and
hollow and
the moon is definitely hollow.
I love it. That's fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
That's
Yes,
my
hell
kind of
yeah.
shit.
So
But the fun-
it's funny you guys talk about. Go ahead. The haunted objects. So my paranormal story is related to haunted objects. Back in high school, I'll tell it real quick. Back in high school, I was dating this girl. She ran to the store, go to do something, and me and her younger sister were down. We were playing Tony Hawk 2, Pro Skater 2 on the PlayStation. Just to date myself. And we're playing, and all of a sudden I had a lab or a golden retriever, and it was downstairs with us. And upstairs, we hear this ball bouncing up and down the hallway. Now, her father always, like, I didn't think her father was the biggest fan of me, so he was always telling me crazy ghost stories and stuff. Like, he's seen stuff and seen imprints on the bed and all this other, heard noises, the chair moving, yada, yada, yada. So I thought he was just full of shit and wanted me to go home early kind of thing. So eventually, like, I started hearing a couple things myself, but I always just blew it off. Like, whatever. But then this one time, the ball started bouncing in the hallway. And it went down once, and it came back once. And I went up to, like, the landing part, and when the dog didn't go up the stairs, and the hair on the back, like, the dog's back went up, I kind of was like, yeah, I'm not going up the stairs neither. And we went outside. It was like 100 degrees out, but we went outside, and I was like, let's go play basketball or catch or find something to do outside. And when her father got home, I was like, dude, I heard it. He goes, oh, yeah. And then a couple crazy things happened shortly after that, to where they had someone come in, and it was pictures. It was pictures her great-grandmother gave to her mother that were in storage. And one was a little girl in a rocking chair, and the other one was a little boy holding a baseball. Yep.
Well, the baseball, and then you hear the ball.
And the ball. But there was a tennis ball upstairs, like the dog's ball, that was in the hallway, but it wasn't where that it was left, kind of thing, neither. So I don't know. It was like, I get goosebumps every time I tell that story. It was the craziest, like, in my experience that I had, that I was like, yeah, I gotta get out of here. Where I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm out. I am out of here.
If you ever get down to Texas, you'll have to come visit us, and we'll provide you with tacos and good craft beer and all the haunted items that you can handle.
Man.
But before I kind of turn it over to her for her origin story, like, the synchronicity comes in where after collecting these items and just being a conspiracy theorist nut and getting into the paranormal, I wanted to talk to people that kind of knew what they were talking about and into this world. And I just knew that if I reached out to them and I was like, hey, will you have a conversation with me for 3 hours? I'm some random dude. They'd be like, well, no, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have that word podcast, well, I have a podcast, right? Well, I knew they'd say yes. And so that's how Parapeculiar started, which is pretty similar to how you started Real Ghost Stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, my story of how I got into this. Yeah, that's why I was like, inevitable when you were talking about the JFK, because our synchronicity, my first thing was Marilyn Monroe. Okay, obviously, yes, she was murdered, but that is not what led me into spooky things. I just was a weirdo, and growing up, ever since I was a kid, I've always just been fascinated by the paranormal. And even when I was little, when I wanted a bedtime story, it wasn't ever like, oh, read me like Beauty and the Beast or whatever. It was, I want you to tell me a ghost story. I was that weird little kid. But to be fair, I also grew up seeing shadow people standing around my bed. So there's also that. So yeah, I just had always been fascinated with it. And then fast forward, moving to Texas from Florida. So we got Florida Mike and Florida Nicole, I guess, today.
Nice.
But moving to Texas, it's a big state and there's a lot of weird things over here, but I didn't really have any friends that were into the paranormal. Everybody was very scared of it, and like I had to coerce people to go on ghost tours with me. But then finally I had somebody who I knew move over here, and I was like, okay, like scale of 1 to 10, do you want to start a paranormal podcast? And we did it because I wanted to go investigate, and you can reach out to all these old abandoned locations and the spooky, weird, haunted places. And if you're like, hey, can I come walk around here and stay here overnight and just check it out. Of course, they're going to say no, but just like you, if you're like, well, I have a podcast, can I come and investigate? And we'll put it on the podcast. Then magically, everybody's like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did kind of start ours the same way. It actually is very selfish. But it's like, hey, well, we're going to be doing these things anyway. We might as well just like edit it and talk about it. Granted, I did not know getting into it how much work it would be. It's a lot, but
I suppose, but we've somehow made it our life completely. So we have 2 podcasts. We have the Museum of Haunted Items, and we travel around the country doing these weird, not even just paranormal investigations. I mean, we were just in Mississippi, literally trying to use your sort of medium abilities to find out if the conspiracy behind the place in Mississippi, the fort,
Centerville.
the Centerville, Mississippi, if there was that massacre
Yeah.
by the government or not. And so it's taken us to all these weird sort of places.
Well,
so
we were gone half of last month because
Yes.
we literally were on the road from here all the way up to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and back down to Austin, and stopping in all kinds of places in between and doing speaking and investigations. And yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun.
No.
Getting to be professional weirdos.
So I'm curious, since you just definitely piqued my curiosity. How did the event in Mississippi go with your abilities?
Man, I think, dude,
I'm up to
all right,
episode 2, man.
no, it's actually gonna blow your mind. And I don't know. I'm trying to not make sure I don't drop bombs because I know we're live, and I don't know. I want to
Let it rip, buddy.
Oh,
Let it
you're
rip.
good. You're good.
But
You're chaos, brother. You can do whatever you want.
it's funny. We went up there with the paranormal kind of in mind, but I found out about this wild, like, sort of unsolved mystery about potentially, and I'll leave it for you and anyone that's listening to go listen to the episodes, but this potential mystery that the government, the federal government, or I guess the army, may or may not have, like, literally slaughtered a bunch of its own soldiers,
Mhm.
like, you know,
And potentially covered it up.
correct. And no one knew about it. And I was like, well, fuck it. We're going to go to this town. I'm not going to tell Nicole what my agenda is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put her in these places. Long story short, we end up using this thing called Randonautica. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
It's this wild app that uses like a random number generator.
Well, that's the episode that just aired. You can't spoil it.
Yeah,
for 'em.
well, I won't spoil it,
Okay.
but it ends up leading us to this weird place in the woods where we get to a clearing. We're on someone's property, dude.
Yeah,
and we
we
get
were
to this-
definitely trespassing.
Yeah, we get to this
100%.
clearing in the woods, and we see these filing cabinets everywhere, like out in the middle of the woods, and we're like, okay, like, what is this? Like, that's the wildest thing ever. Yeah, there you go, Randonautica. It uses quantum entanglement is what it's trying to use, and it does a random location for you based off of your intent. So our intent with this thing was like, hey, lead us to somewhere that's going to help us solve this mystery. And it literally led us into the middle of the woods to a clearing out of nowhere that had filing cabinets and weird metal parts everywhere.
Fuck.
Yeah, and
Oh,
we opened the
yeah.
filing cabinets, or Nicole does, and fucking
bunch of
hornets
hornets
start
flew
flying
in.
out of everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then we hear people in the distance, and like, look, I will go after cryptids. I will go after ghosts. I will try to storm Area 51 if you invite me. Right? But like dudes in backwoods Mississippi, and I'm trespassing.
Nah, bro.
Yeah,
No.
not,
It's like
not-
that movie Wrong
No.
Turn, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm good on
Yeah.
that.
And
So
Or deliver-
first-
well, and all of this, mind you, I was under the assumption that we were going here to stay at this beautiful old home. It's called Moon Shadow Manor. Shout out to them. It's amazing. They did a beautiful job decorating it. And I had connected with her on Instagram, and all I knew was like, oh, this is a really old home. Like, it's never been investigated before. It has some history. She had said that some of the previous owners had left a bunch of stuff there. So she was like, yeah, come on over, check it out, see if anything weird happens, So that's all I knew going into it. Little did I know he had gone down this crazy rabbit hole and found this whole potential cover up that apparently you said was pretty hard to like even kind of come across.
It's very hard to come across. And look, if you show me like a mixture, like a cookie dough batter of ghost government conspiracies right? Like it's cooking my bacon. So I was so excited. It was a wild trip. So listen to the episode. You'll kind of see how that concludes. But
Definitely gonna watch it.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, Nicole, did you have, when you got to those filing cabinets, did you have any, because of the medium feel, did you have any like feelings prior to or like on your way there? Like, did you catch any vibes? Like, I don't even know what to call it, but like, I guess vibes, feelings.
So, well, I will say the biggest vibes that I got was definitely when we went to, so the military base that this all allegedly happened is no longer there, but they do have a historical marker at the entrance of it, and they took me there. And usually when we go on these investigations, when I do my my reads, it's like of a building, right? So I can touch the walls or feel things that were original, whatever. I've never been taken to like, all right, here's this clearing on the side of a highway, and I guess touch this tree and see if you feel anything, and it's funny because from my perspective, when we were there, I didn't really get much. Like, all I got was, I just kept hearing, and you hear it on the episode because I splice in, we have our microphones on the whole time, but you hear me kind of repeating, like, I'm just hearing, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I was getting that. But then this is the thing that always like weirds me out when I get things that are so specific, because the other thing that I said was, I just am seeing like somebody like lined up a bunch of people, shot them. And that was pretty much what I got. Like, this didn't happen, and then seeing that, which allegedly in the stories that is what they said happened. So that, from my perspective, I was like, nah, I only got these like two things. I don't know. This probably doesn't even mean anything, but from y'all's perspective, knowing the history, because we had our researcher there with us too, Chelsea, and y'all are just standing there like, oh shit, because I guess that is the story.
Right.
When we were going to the filing cabinets though, I was really, really anxious the entire time driving there. And you can hear it in the recording too, because the third part, it's basically vlog style, because we recorded the whole thing. And you hear me, I'm like, oh, I do not feel good right now. Like, I hope we find something, because I'm the one driving. And like, if I don't know where I'm going, I have anxiety. Okay. I am the person that, I will go on Google Maps and look at the entire route before, and we're just looking at a dot on a map that it's not even at an intersection, and trying to drive in backwoods Mississippi to find where the fuck this is, So I had a lot of anxiety. Which
is understandable, because the way this app works, it gives you coordinates, and as you get closer,
it starts dinging.
You're hearing like a beep. It'll be like beep, beep, and it'll get faster as you get closer, right? Beep, 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 beep. So we get up to this area, and it's beeping all fast, and we look, and there's a house to the left of us, and we're like, we're not going to pull into this bruv's driveway, And then I look, and I go, but there's a road right here. What if we go down that road? And I saw it in your face. You're like, ugh. And I was like, let's just go. Our little historian, Chelsea, who was with us, we drive down this road. I didn't expect this. We get to the edge of these woods, and I'm thinking, are we going to go in these woods? And before I can even finish my thought, Chelsea's like, let's do it. She gets out of the car.
Like, I'm getting out. Sitting there, like, you hear me on the recording. I'm like, should we like send somebody our coordinates or something, just in case? Or, and then you hear her in the background, the door's opening. She's like, I'm getting out. I'm like, dude, we're on private property in backwoods Mississippi. Like, what is happening right now?
Oh my gosh.
So
The best trips though.
a lot of
Yeah.
Made for some good memories, right?
Yeah, our memories are wild. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listen, it's what you love. What are your thoughts on like the shows like Ghost Adventures that were always like mainstream media, and what was the other one there? God.
Ghost Hunters.
Ghost Hunters.
Yes, yes.
Look,
Are they like, I mean, was it? Go ahead.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
I opened up a door there, didn't I?
No, I think first and foremost, I will preface this with as shitty and as kind of hokey as those shows are, we are closeted. They're a guilty pleasure. So many a night when we are not on the road or doing an investigation or doing one of our two podcasts, you will find us in bed watching Daddy Bagans kick doors and fight demons. And we know I
will say though, the more recent episodes
have been okay.
yeah, we were watching them and they're using like newer,
Yeah.
you know, more experimental investigation techniques and stuff. And we're like, okay, this is good. I mean, whatever you think about him, you have to give props to them. Okay. Like Daddy Bagans, you know, he's built a whole fucking empire
OG.
doing this.
Right.
Well,
you know?
He's driving a Ferrari off of Hunting
And
Ghost,
we're
and I love
not.
that. Yeah, again, we're not. So, but I will say, no, all the shows, we know a number of people that have worked in those shows. We've had producers come down and film us for potential shows. Like we know that area. So my thoughts are they're fun,
Mhm.
but there's nothing to take sort of serious about them because those networks won't allow it.
Well, I think it's
Okay.
just the politically correct, perhaps, way of putting this is it's entertainment. So everybody watching those shows, just remember, like there are credits at the end that include writers for a
Mhm.
reason. They are entertainment. They don't have the luxury of if you go to a location and nothing happens.
Right.
Well, guess what? Something has to happen.
They're gonna
because
make it happen.
they have to put out a
Right.
show.
Right.
So,
Correct. I think the
I-
real political correct way to say it is the networks are run by literal lizard people,
Yes.
and they don't let anything come
Yes.
that's going to make you think or see what's really going on. Yeah.
yes.
Florida Mike, he's our kind of guy, isn't
Black
he?
Yeah.
Black Rock
I've always
State
been a-
Street Vanguard, man. Hold
Black
on
Rock.
down.
See that kid that shot at Trump was in a BlackRock commercial?
Yep.
Yeah, he was also an
Yeah,
employee, and the
yeah.
building he was on was owned by BlackRock.
Then you saw that they had an FBI agent's phone that had pinged that is like around his house a bunch of times, and when they go in there,
Oh yeah.
literally all the silverware is fucking gone from his house. Like
Didn't
Yeah.
his phone ping from an FBI office? I thought his phone even pinged from an FBI office or something.
Yes, and then so it's wild. And then the FBI comes out all over mainstream media and they go, "Oh man, this kid, we can't crack the encryption on his phone." I'm like, "You son of a fucking, are you kidding me? Like you can't
Yeah,
crack
they can do
listen to
They
everything I
can, for sure.
Lies.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I didn't. I mean, you said
No.
black.
That was great.
We
That was
could
great.
no, that's
We
what's
go
chaos. That's
anywhere
what I said.
we
We
wanna
always
go.
go anywhere. Love
Yeah.
it.
So, what's the most convincing piece of evidence you guys have ever captured? Because since you got your haunted museum there,
God damn.
Ooh. I mean, I feel like when we're talking about evidence captured,
Yeah.
I mean, we have a video of a woman she was taking a selfie in the mirror. We have a haunted mirror, and it's a live photo, and she sends it to her daughter, and she didn't even know this until her daughter was the one that caught it. But you literally see her hair being pulled only on one side. So we have that. But I feel like for me, the most compelling, honestly, is probably just when we do our live streams, because we do a lot of live streams in our Patreons and investigations with them and whatever, when we will have stuff happen like on command, like when we were
Mhm.
going through the whole Jeff thing. And you called me.
Do you want to explain to these fine people what you mean when you say the Jeff thing so they know that we're crazy?
yeah, I don't know who Jeff is.
So the Jeff thing.
You know
so
Jeff. You know Jeff.
Good old Jeff Dahmer, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Mm,
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Jeff, are you here?
Watch the fucking lights flicker.
That'd be great if it did.
Shit.
But there's this girl who had written a book about basically being haunted by him, and we interviewed her for Parapeculiar, and things were getting weird for a while. We were having a lot of synchronicities with shit that she said had happened to her in this book, like literal exact same things were happening to us. And then we're on this live stream once, and you called me Mrs. Dahmer, and literally the ring light that's behind us right now flickered. So whenever we have things like that happen on live streams, when we say something and it's like an immediate instant reaction to it, that is unexplainable, right? Because it's the same ring light. It is not flickering. There's nothing wrong with it. It is not just some defect where it's randomly, just like a one-time thing. I feel like those are the most interesting to me because it's like, it's a direct, intelligent reply.
We though, and it's interesting because we forget so much of the call it things we've captured. We have so many things. I'll start with some of the radio experiments that I'd started doing for a while, trying to talk to those and get these voices to come through. One thing I have on recording is me talking to this white noise of this radio, and Analog shortwave radio, and I'm asking it, where are you from? And then you hear this pop, and then you hear this weird voice, I'm from here, right? Which is interesting. But the most compelling for me is something, there is an episode we have on both, well, on the Real Ghost Sub, we have a whole series on a place called Hill House in Mineral Wells. And we also talk about it in the Parapeculiar podcast. This is probably the best evidence, in my opinion, that we have, because we have this recording of us in the house, and you hear the sound of someone whistling at us, right? It's like, whistling at us, which is like, whatever, doesn't sound too crazy. Long story short, the owner ends up giving us an item from the house that we take home. This whistling now starts following us, and it's going from state to state to state. It's following us around. We get to a point where we're having groups of people that are with us that are hearing this whistling at the same time. Now we have countless, and I mean countless, messages from people listening to those episodes about that place specifically, that when they're done, they get the whistle in their house. So to me, that's probably the most.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had to put disclaimers on all of those episodes now anytime we talk about it. So disclaimer, sorry if somebody has a whistle follow you or like whistle at you after listening to this, DM us and let us know. But yeah, it's literal. Like, I have an entire folder on my phone of that happening.
That question is so difficult because literally, because of the way that we live our lives, things are happening.
I mean, stuff happens constantly. You literally got slapped in the face by Miss Thang from Tennessee.
Correct.
The Bell Witch.
Right there in bed. And God, I can go into that rabbit hole too. I can go into the fact that we have a weird beep that follows us around the house that I'm almost convinced is something like CIA-ish, because I say a lot of shit about
basically
CIA.
The answer is I don't know. Our entire lives are haunted, so
yeah.
It could be a little bit of everything, right?
He wasn't
That's
expecting
crazy.
that.
So-
The fact that you had a witch smack you in the face, that's intriguing. That's amazing.
Oh, dude. So
I heard it. We were laying in bed, and like, when you're in bed and you like drop the remote on your face or your phone on your face or something, like, hear it. So that's what I heard,
That's
right?
what I thought.
And I look at him and he's like, oh, I guess the remote hit me in the face, and I'm sitting up and I look, and like down by his feet, other end of the bed, the remote's down there. So I'm like, that was not the remote. Like, if for some reason that was the remote and it hit him in the face, like, it would have had to like drop on you without you holding it and also fly past my face down. Like, it wasn't the remote.
there's some context here for that, though, that deserves to be had, which is, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the old American ghost story, The Bell Witch.
The
I haven't
Bell
heard of
Witch?
it.
I
The
feel like
Bell
I've heard of it,
They made a
Yeah.
movie about it with Donald Sutherland called American Haunting and all these things. It's really America's first sort of great ghost story. Anyways, if you go visit the property where this apparently, or allegedly, I should say, happened, there's a cave on the property. This is in Tennessee. And the legend is, if you take a rock, one rock from the cave, that you're going to have, you're cursed, and you've got this thing following you. So anyhow, this was last year, we were going on one of our trips, and we stopped off at the Bell Witch Cave because we wanted to see it. And like an idiot, I literally get a handful of these rocks, dude, and like put them in the truck, and we come home with them. Long story short, we started doing some experiments with the rocks, and some of the things that were happening, like me getting slapped in the head, items going missing, new items that we've never had before showing up in the house, all these things, which were the same kind of things happening in that Bell Witch story, started happening to us, which was really interesting. And it led to literally waking up one morning, and there's weird, dark handprints with like long fingers all over our sheets, man.
Ooh.
And those sheets, we've now
After I bleached them.
We've now washed them several times over and over with bleach, and they get darker. It just gets darker every time. So
Super creepy.
yeah. And what's funny is people asked us recently, they're like, what'd you do with the sheets? And we had to think about it, and we were like, fuck, we still sleep with them, you know? But now, so
they're very comfortable. They're very soft.
we finally now have taken, I'm looking at them right now.
I finally went and bought a new sheet. Okay, so it's in the museum now.
But we are looking, if any of your listeners know, we are looking for someone that knows how to test things like sheets and tell us why whatever material made these handprints, because they're all over and there's weird symbols even. So if anyone out there knows how we can test this to see what made that, because it will not wash off. So we want to figure out what it is.
It's wild.
Can we see it?
So,
Yeah.
Nicole,
Yes.
Nicole, you said earlier that you were when you were sleeping, you
Yeah.
had shadow people.
Yes.
Do you think that these are the shadow people returning because they took the stones or a curse, some type of curse or anything to that nature?
We see them
All
all
the
the time. I mean, he's infected now too. And that was for a long time, it was kind of the joke because both of us started separately, doing our podcast separately. And then we started doing events together and we were just like, nah, we're just going to do all of this together, you know? So we've both worked with a bunch of other people, whatever. And it was kind of the running joke that, you know, whoever sleeps with Nicole, when we go on the investigations, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you are going to see something standing at the foot of my bed or next to my bed, and everybody has.
Are you like used to it by now though? It doesn't even creep you out at all. You're just like, oh hey.
I will say there's the one time it was a little weird because typically they're just standing there, you know. But yeah, not long ago, I think it might have been last month, like a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
We were in the room and he's sleeping, and I have insomnia. I can never sleep. So I'm looking around the room and they're just freaking everywhere. But I see it's like black like blob on the end of the bed. And I've never seen that before. I've only ever seen them like around the bed, just kind of standing there. And so he gets woken up by me laying over the bed going like this. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to sleep. It's physical. And so then he looks and he's like, oh shit, they're everywhere.
They were everywhere, dude. Imagine waking up in your room and there we are, like we're laying in our bed, and this is not an exaggeration, 10 to 15 of these shadow dudes are in the room, okay, and they're getting on the fucking bed. And I know that sounds wild. That sounds wild. It sounds absolutely wild. But
can you feel anything like if you're on the bed and they get on? Do you feel any sort of
sometimes
pressure?
Sometimes you can feel that, and that's about as far as it goes, right? Is like this pressure. So we felt that before, but as far as shadow people goes, I mean, we see them in our house all the time at this point, and I think it's because the house is full of haunted items, and we do experiments in the house all the time, you know, when we're not on the road. But I think the scariest,
like an escape for them.
Well, I don't know. No, I think it's like if you put the bat signal out, right? Like Batman's on his way. I think when you engage this stuff, there's something about it that resonates, and now that this door is open, this veil is lifted. Okay. I think the worst shadow person is it.
Here's one. I feel like
it's gonna be hard to see because we're pulling up on
light to see.
No, I can see it.
I can see like the smudge.
I can see it on the top. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like fingerprints, like
they're all over,
you know.
Like it's literally all over the sheet, and it's the wildest thing because again we watched it with everything else,
and it just won't come off.
No, it's crazy too because a lot of times
shadowed. Oh, go ahead, Raj.
Well, a lot of times though, when people talk about shadow people, they usually have sleep paralysis, and both you guys said that you don't. So which is crazy.
Here's the thing, and I not to cut you off, like you know, I've heard that, and it's funny. Every encounter I've had with a shadow person has tipped. That's actually the first time. Yes, that was the first time that I was woken up and then was encountering them. Most times that I've experienced them on our adventures is while we're up doing things in the moment,
like walking around.
Worst one I've ever had was at the same place where the whistle happened in Mineral Wells, Texas. It's called Hill House. We need to send them our invoice because we've sent them so many people. But on four legs, shadow figure comes crawling out. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And it freaked me out. And we have the same video too. Our friend was downstairs when it happened. You hear me react upstairs. I start having this weird meltdown, which I can touch on what I think that is later if you want. But you hear me having this meltdown. Nicole goes upstairs to console me, and the fucking walls or whatever on the door start to like shake.
It is posted on our Instagram somewhere. You can hear it because there's like a metal sign on
Check
the
it out,
door,
Ant.
and you literally like hear it.
It's wild. It's wild. But yeah,
You
You
so
said on the Instagram page.
It's
it's
on there
somewhere.
somewhere. It's gonna be
Dude.
far back because it's like
I'll
it
scroll down.
will be like a night vision video, and you see like a woman standing at the bottom of a staircase.
You could help me find it also if I'm. I'll bring it up right now on screen.
but that is a good point that
Or
you bring up.
anything cool we come across. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
a lot of people will talk about
It'll be on, I think, the Real Ghosts of Instagram.
I
Oh,
think so.
okay. Oh, okay. This is Nicole. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me
But
find
it's
it.
interesting though you bring that up because a lot of people talk about these shadow beings being a sleep paralysis thing. Okay, but you have to look as well at the accounts of people that experience them all the way back to indigenous cultures without being asleep. You've also got to look at the accounts and look at the cross sort of reference. People see these kind of shadow beings when they have UFO experiences, right? As an example,
Mhm.
they see them
Mhm.
when they have weird kind of cryptidy experiences. So the shadow person thing is a weird,
Shapeshifter type stuff. Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
I've seen like on recent like
Mm-hmm.
conspiracy pages caught on like ring cams something kind of you are speaking of like all fours, and it was like running across the road. If I come across it again, I will share it.
No
But
way. Yeah.
I know I've seen something that you were speaking of. It's
Well,
pretty
it's
wild.
wild
Man.
to see
They're
it in
out
person.
there. Yeah, I'm sure, dude. I'm sure. What are your? While I'm looking for this, I want to know your thoughts on Ouija boards. I'm curious on are they just? Yeah, tell me. Are they like? Can you speak to the dead?
He's
Or
gonna
what?
put a 3-hour tangent.
We love them.
We love
Okay.
them.
I am looking for the post.
Okay.
If you were to see
Love
our
it.
living room right now, so we are also not only do we have the Museum of Haunted Items, we collect antiques and oddities, but we also collect Ouija boards. So our
Nice.
living room has them all mounted on the wall, like we've got from the early 1900s all the way to modern times. And to answer your question, what do I think about Ouija boards? I think much like I think about a lot of the stuff that's paranormal related, even diving into things like UFOs and cryptids, whatever, I think it is what you make it. Like
That's the whistle right there, that blue one.
you're gonna
Okay,
barely
right
be
here.
able to hear it go on the thing,
That's
probably.
the whistle.
I would turn it up if you're gonna play
if
it.
you want to hear it.
Yeah. I'll bring it up right now.
To give context to what you're looking at here,
And they're pew pewing. What the fuck was that?
Yeah. Wow.
And they're pew pewing. What the fuck was
And that was another whistle. See, it follows us. That was an
So,
episode.
you
or an
hear
episode
that-
we got it.
that little whistle. The first video you're seeing is from a security camera. I'm upstairs, she's downstairs. You can hear it very lightly in the house. And the second clip where we're talking and you hear it, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? That was in our house
Yeah,
recording a podcast
during
episode.
a podcast recording.
And it's like the same whistle, which is just wild.
That is like they're talking to you, man. But I wanted to hear more about the Ouija board thing because I had a little experience when I
Well,
was younger.
I
And
think,
go ahead.
yeah, I think it comes down to your sort of beliefs and intent, man. Like, as someone who we have so many Ouija boards, and we actually are good friends with our buddy Brandon Hodge, who is like the foremost Ouija board collector. He's here in Austin as well. So shout out to Brandon Hodge. He just had a book come out about Ouija boards and everything else, by the way. But he's got, I mean, his whole house is a Ouija board museum. It's nuts. He's never had a paranormal experience. Now, with the museum being open, people would come in and see all these Ouija boards like lined up on the walls. Depending on what their culture and belief system was, is how they would react to these things. So it's interesting. Do I think that they can be a sort of a conduit and a way to communicate with whatever this is? Like use the word spirit for lack of a better term? Absolutely, 100%. Do I think in and of itself it does it? No, it's just it's a piece of particle board. If you give a Ouija board to your everyday atheist, nothing's going to happen. If you give it to someone whose culture says it's evil and there's demons in it, shit's probably going to happen if they play with it. And that's what I've come to find. I think it's all what you're kind of projecting onto it. Because think about what a Ouija board is. It's the same thing as when we use a radio to talk and get voices to come through, or a pendulum.
Yeah, pendulum, dowsing rods,
Any of
tarot cards, they're all essentially the same thing. You know, you are using that with the intent of spirit communication.
Yeah.
I think Ouija boards just get a bad rap. Now, does that mean I don't believe that they can do things? Yes, I definitely do. And especially, you know, belief intent is everything. So I think for sure, if people are going into it and they have that belief of like, oh my God, this is going to open up a portal and the scary demon's going to come through. Cool. Could that happen? Yeah, for sure. Could that also happen if you're using your pendulum
Sure.
or your dowsing rods? Yeah, for
We've
sure.
had people tell us
Belief.
that it's happened by using tarot cards, which is
Yeah.
asinine. But
Hmm.
it is funny before you like talk about that experience. They're like, culturally, in the West, we were never really super afraid of Ouija boards. You had stories here and there about that they were probably not great, but in the late 1800s, during the age of spiritualism, Ouija boards were a household item, and everyone had them in their parlor. This was before we all had phones and television. So, like on a weekend or whatever, you're with your community, you're messing with the Ouija board, trying to talk to these things. And it's funny, it put a lot of psychics out of work, because you no longer had to go to a psychic or a medium. You now had this in your home, this device. And it was never a problem until the 1970s. A movie come out called The Exorcist. We all remember that movie. And what happens in the movie is this little girl, she plays with a Ouija board and she's possessed by the devil. Since that movie's premiere in theaters, the fear of Ouija boards, as well as the sales of Ouija boards, has increased astronomically in the West.
Yes.
Listen,
Crazy.
I believe it because it was my buddy Austin's house, and it was like a Super Bowl party, and there was like 5 of us. We were staying up really late, and he lived on a kennel. He lived on they had dogs, and they watched dogs, so it was a bunch of animals. They had like goats and shit. They had all sorts of animals. But he lived out in the middle of nowhere. It was actually his place was his road was called North Pole Road. That's how far out he lived. Okay, dirt road. So we're like, okay, let's break the Ouija board out. Let's just have some fun. Put candles up. Went the whole 9. I wasn't even doing it, dude. I wasn't even touching it. And I can't remember the exact questions they were asking it, but it was my buddy Shane and Austin. They were both like, dude, this thing is actually like I'm putting a little pressure on it, but this thing's moving. And all of a sudden the dog started barking, like all of them at the same time started. And then this is what had me. I'm like, we're putting this thing away. Dude, the radio turned on, like it went on, and it was The Devil's Haircut. Who was the singer? The Devil. It was Beck. I was like, I'm like, put this shit away right now. I'm like, we were too young to be smart. We weren't too high. We were nothing. We're like, like this is like craziest thing. So we felt something. That's why that was the only experience that I had with the Ouija board. Like we've always played with it, like when we were younger, just fooling around. But that was like we went all out, dude. We put like like I said, the candles out. We went hard and we felt something, man. Especially when the dog started barking, because the animals, they sense more than humans.
They know.
They sense something going on.
Maybe.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys ever heard of CE5?
Not sure.
Oh, bro.
Remind me.
Jump into like the Chris Bledsoe story, seeing the orbs come from the sky, this and that.
Mhm.
Well, anyway,
Okay.
we started doing
Bledsoe.
it as well. And, seeing these orbs in the sky, people seeing it, it's the same thing as a Ouija board. Like when you put that belief and intent in, you can connect with this other, I guess is what we'll call it, this other. Like I hate the word ghost, if I'm being honest, but this other, you can connect with it, whether it's through a Ouija board, whether it's through a radio. And what a synchronicity, man. You said the radio just started playing. That has been happening to us recently here in this room. We have a shortwave radio that will just turn on.
It was an older radio. This was back in I'm 43, so to age myself, this was back when we were still in high school, because he would have like the Super Bowl parties and we would do like stayovers. And so I was probably 15, 16 years old. So it was before, even CD players. So it was
back when CDs came in those big boxes. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, man! I had a whole
Yeah.
binder. I wish I had my whole binder still of CDs. I had
Binders
so
of
many CDs. I don't
CDs,
even
man.
know what happened to those things.
Binders.
Sick
That,
ass
that
mixtapes,
generation
yo.
made the best drivers.
Well, that's the thing. Like people our age will complain about people texting on their phone, but you have to remember we were literally driving around in the late 90s, early 2000s, flipping through big binders of
Flipping
CDs.
books.
We're driving
Oh,
and
yeah.
trying to figure things out. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Or like if
yeah.
you're like super rich, he
Yeah.
had like a 5-disc changer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God.
Mm.
You know?
Everybody
So-
wanted to ride
Yeah.
in the car.
Absolutely. Hey, before we I want to see if you guys heard this story. I actually talked to Roger about it. I could bring it up here. The
Are you gonna pull up
paranormal
Pinewoods?
investigator. No, not. I was going to show that too. The paranormal investigator that died while on tour with Annabelle the doll. Did you guys just see that? This
Oh,
is just recent
yeah,
news.
this is
to
recent.
life. This
You
is
can
just
see a
came
picture of us with him a couple weeks, a
With
month ago.
Annabelle, yeah.
with Dan Rivera.
We were
Yeah,
on that
No
tour.
way.
We actually spoke in San Antonio when that tour came through.
No way.
So we have
Very
this
Sorry,
picture
dude. I didn't realize you knew him.
with Annabelle. Here's the thing. Well, knew him. I wouldn't go that far, but we
Well,
were speaking at
sure.
that event, and Annabelle was there. We went and saw Annabelle. I'll say this. So condolences to his family. Much respect, much love, this
Sure.
and that. Did it have anything to do with the doll? No, not at all. 100%.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
It was
if
just-
I'm being honest, I'll say this, and I know it's a controversial topic in the world that we live in, but that is probably one of the most not haunted items I've ever come across.
Yeah.
Is the
Okay.
Annabelle doll.
I felt literally
Okay.
nothing, and I gave her a little kiss on the forehead for good night.
Yeah,
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
no shit. That's
That's
crazy.
No
Really
feelings, no nothing, huh?
So it's just a little. It was just a coincidence. Maybe the guy had a bad heart and boom, type thing. Was it a heart
Yeah.
attack?
we don't know. I don't know. It just happened. So I don't know.
Yeah.
They've not done an
I
autopsy.
personally I don't know. I feel like it
This
just
is mainstream media trying to like.
Well,
yes, it feels kind of shitty to me that
They
somebody
would
in
never.
and it was probably somebody who I feel bad because we're like live saying this, but like it was probably somebody who's like has something to do with marketing that, right?
Well-
that they're like, let's use this and put this story
Fucked
out. It
up.
was
It is.
All right, we'll get clicks on this. It's all about clicks.
guy who's young and
Oh no, he was not young.
Well,
He's
no, he's like,
mid-50s.
well, but that's young, It's not like usually when somebody dies, it's like you're like 80 or 90 or whatever, And he has a
Mhm.
whole family. Like, why can't we just talk about that and his legacy instead
Right.
of having to try it to like, was it Annabelle? It's
Well,
like, dude,
and
Annabelle, get out of here.
The truth is, like, I think to circle back though, like back to that belief system. One thing that we did know about him very much, because he actually built the case that
Yeah,
Annabelle
that
was
she was being
was
or
in.
her travel case.
and let's talk about that belief.
Mhm.
Can that belief cause something like that? I'm not saying that it did, but maybe.
But could
but
he have scared?
Like
Could
he
he have scared
manifested
himself
the-
to death? Yeah, he manifested the fear in himself.
maybe. I mean, the people that work with the Warrens' old items, like the Annabelle stuff and everything else, very much believe that ecosystem of thinking. And we're not going to get into
brain-
the Warrens on this.
The brain is a
podcast.
powerful organ, man. It can make you sick if you really believe and
Yes.
you train.
Correct. Correct.
Yes.
That's right. There's been, if you can look this up, I wish I could give you info to find it right now, but there was a story of a guy that had gotten stuck on a boxcar train that he thought was going to somewhere super cold, but ended up going to somewhere super warm. Long story short, when they found this guy, he was frozen to death. He died from hypothermia.
Shit.
It's like, so he thought he was like really cold. I couldn't tell you what to look up, but it's out there if you find it. I find all kinds of weird stories
Yeah,
like
that's
this. But
wild.
yeah, it's the brain. Yeah, illnesses, everything.
Yeah,
So
brain controls the body.
yeah,
Sure.
Mhm.
I firmly believe in manifestation.
100%.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Your Ouija board question, manifestation, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah. Like I think I think I was about the same age as Anthony. I was staying over at a friend's house because my house wasn't like great to live in at the time. I was 14, 15, so I stayed at this girl's house. Here down the street, they have a whole entire farm, but it's family, like 4 houses. and it's all been through generations. And they would tell me all the time, like, yeah, our grandparents aren't here no more, but every Thursday at 9 p.m. you'll see her shadow and a light in the laundry room pop on in their house, and it like looks like she's like folding laundry. It's like 10-15 minutes and then it'll disappear. And I'm like, yeah, right, you guys just smoking that good stuff, you know. And I was new to the smoking game, and I would say, like, after like a couple of weeks of talking about it, it actually happened. I was just so happened to be out back on the porch, and I saw the light flicker, and then it came on, and I was like looking around. Before I say anything, it looked like a fool. I'm looking around counting bodies, like, all right, who's messing with me, right? And I see it steady sitting there for a couple minutes. I'm like, this is crazy. And like the light on the patio, like kind of started like floating, like almost like tell me to go over there. So I talked to him. I was like, yo, I was like, who's over there doing this? He's like, I told you, man, it's my Grams, you know? And I was like, there ain't no way. And I walked over there, and when I opened the door, the light turned off and she was gone. But it was, as I got closer, it was still there, but it was just like almost like an outline, and you could see moving of the shadow. And then that was crazy. And then
was the laundry folded?
What's that? There was no laundry.
The laundry
There was no laundry. The whole house was completely vacant. Like there was
wow.
nothing in there but
Come back
cobwebs and
again,
spiders.
Save me some
That's
chores.
creepy.
You know? Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then I remember some things happened like inside the house that we were in, just like little noises and plates, like the cabinet door would open, like it would flutter. And it would always in the morning when we'd have breakfast. And I never knew what happened. I ended up leaving and moving, but I never knew what happened to it. But I drove by it like a month ago, and I get that like goosebump feeling when I drive by the land.
Yeah.
And it seems just got that like quiet vibe to it, but yet, I mean, I feel like they're very peaceful ghosts. Like they were good.
Is the
people.
building gone now? Is it just the lands there?
No, a couple of the houses are still there. The original house is still there. There's somebody living in it. I don't know if it's the same family.
Just send us the address. We'll reach out to them. And we'll,
I'm like,
There
is
you
it
go.
real?
Okay, I'll send you I'll go in front of it and
Absolutely.
send you a picture of it with the address.
Well, if you guys are down to checking places out, I brought it up earlier. Let me see if I can bring it up. This is supposed to be one of the top 10 haunted cemeteries. It's been closed down. Nobody gets buried there anymore. But it's
Are you going
called
to Pinewoods?
Yeah, we call it Pinewoods, but it's actually Forest Park Cemetery. I'll just bring up some creepy pictures.
So we used to go here as kids when we were in high school for Halloween and such. There's headless statues and
the Mary, the blood.
It's
the
been
Mary
on a
used
couple
to
of
cry.
TV shows and shit.
The Bloody Mary statue. That's
Yeah, you heard about that?
Yep.
Yeah. It's very It's very
I used to try to do that when I was a kid.
Rituals there.
Is this near Yonkers?
It's downstate. It's a couple hours.
Hour and 2 hours north of Yonkers. Hour and 45
Is
minutes.
this the place that David Berkowitz would go? Is it out in the woods where he was working with these people that would do these like weird
with the cult, where he was working with the cult in the park? Yeah,
right.
no.
That was
different park. Okay,
this is different, but this is pretty creepy stuff, man. And they will allow you to go, especially you guys, because you have to have like some sort of past. Or you at least have to have family that's buried.
We'd be all right.
But yeah, we could. Well, it would be nice if they could actually get the okay to where you could go on, and we've always snuck in. We've always gone on.
Our whole lives, bro.
Yeah, we've always snuck in our whole lives.
Did you ever feel anything eerie when you were there? Or
I mean,
experience anything?
I have. I certainly.
It's tough going there because when you go there and it's Halloween, there's so many people in the woods. There's so many kids up there. There's too much going on. I feel like to actually get a true paranormal experience.
Have you ever gone on a random night, not a holiday?
I haven't.
Yes. Listen, I've heard babies.
If you guys ever
crying.
came and checked that place out, man, we'd be more than happy to join you, though.
Yeah, we'll go check it out. It's interesting to me. I mean, I think it's funny going back to that idea of belief, right? Like when we look at cemeteries, they're very scary. And when I was a kid, we used to play a game called Ghosts in the Graveyard. And you would like literally go in, you'd hear the story because you like, this is so stupid, but you take like scissors or a knife or something sharp and you like jab it into the ground because there was that story of the girl that did it and the knife that she stuck in the ground caught her dress, so when she tried to walk away, it was keeping her there, so she thought it was a ghost and she died or something.
Mm.
We go play this game. But if you look at the idea of what people call a ghost, right? And you think, okay, well, if the ghost is the soul of a dead person that is kind of wandering the earth, I'd be hard pressed to believe that they'd be somewhere like a cemetery where there's just carcasses. So it's interesting to me. Carcasses, yeah. Corpses. Yeah, that's a more decent word. But I think cemeteries can be wildly haunted because of that state that we put ourselves in when we're in there. You know, there's a lot of death in our mind there. To you, they're the most peaceful place on the planet, aren't they?
The majority of them, yeah. For me, it's one of the few places that I go there and I'm like, oh my god, finally some fucking peace and quiet. That and laying
like
on
they
my
stay outside.
funny enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, you will feel a lot of the grief though, you know, because it's kind of like the imprints of the energy that we leave places too, you know. You feel that sadness, you feel the grief. And you know, when you're walking through, especially if you're walking like in front of graves, you'll feel those little pockets of like, ooh, this feels like recent, like somebody's still coming here and actively like in this loss, you know, like that's for the majority of them. Some of them I've had some crazy experiences. The most physical experience that I've ever had was up in the Round Rock Cemetery, but majority of them, yes, very peaceful.
I think at the end of the day, it is going to come down to symbolism, though, because we have to look at sort of the archaeological even facts or anthropological facts of it, which is like, yeah, we can look at a graveyard and we'll be like, oh, there's a graveyard. People are buried there. And we somehow forget that there's probably so many dead people, things that we walk over or drive over all the time, all over the place. So like we look at a graveyard as like the only place where the dead are buried, but it's like, well, they're kind of all over the place, given the history of the world and as long as we've been here. So I think that goes back to that power of belief. So these places can be very haunted, I think, because we definitely haunt them ourselves.
Like give ourselves the heebie-jeebies, kind of.
No, because the heebie-jeebies, I think, manifest into a real thing because that belief, it's calling something. And to go down a super rabbit hole here, but I think it's the same thing that we're seeing and experiencing when we have a UFO experience or a cryptid experience. I think it's all the same thing. It's something from the other that's literally using our belief system and our mind
for energy of some sort.
Let us that we can understand, right? Like, have you ever thought about back like fish in an ocean? They're down there, they've got their life. If a fish sees us, like comes out of the water and sees us, no matter if we're trying to explain ourselves or be like, I'm a human, this is what we are, they're never going to understand it. And it's always going to be a giant mystery to them. Their world is in that ocean. Our world is up here. They can't comprehend it. So if they see us, that's kind of, I think, there's a filter that happens. So our belief, our culture, whatever it is, will show us these things. I think it's the same thing as UFOs or cryptids or whatever. So
the fish is getting pulled out right through the firmament, and boom, doesn't know what to do.
Boom.
So
I got to talk. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You first.
So I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Since you guys are conspiracy and you do the paranormal, have you had or have it on the list to go to Bohemian Grove?
Oh,
that'd be a tough one to get into.
It's funny you mentioned that because, like, I mean, I literally randomly have this sitting here. Speaking of Bohemian Grove, you ever seen a $2 bill folded up?
Here we go.
I have, but let's do it for the listeners.
Here's the $2 bill. If you fold it on the back, you can see the owl. You see the great owl.
Oh, shit.
That's on the $2 bill. If you take the $1 bill, which is I have here just randomly like an idiot, on the corner, I've got it circled in red.
That's the owl.
There. That's the same great owl, right? This is the same great owl that's on the Mason.
Wow.
I'm sorry, on the Bohemian Grove sort of like logo and sign. There's all these great things. People, I would love to go there. I would love to go to Bohemian Grove. The challenge is, I think after Alex Jones broke in there and broke that story, which I'll never forget, by the way. I don't know what
they
goes
moved
on
it. I think
it's
closed. I heard
for years he was saying that all this stuff was happening, and nobody believed him. Like, oh, he's crazy conspiracy theorist, you know. but then he found a way to break in and did it live, man. Like
They're
that.
dressing up in robes. They're dressing up in robes.
Politicians, it's like elite, and they have the big owl effigy, and they're burning this thing, and they're chanting. They're in robes. Like, this is the people in power.
Yeah.
Worshiping Moloch.
Moloch. That's who's on the $1 bill for sure. Is the Moloch?
Yeah,
Yes.
Moloch.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Man, so you
I
go
was
deep
gonna-
into the conspiracies. I
Yeah.
love it.
I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
like, just what are your thoughts? What the paranormal or ghosts are? Are they just like are they in purgatory? Is there you know
In between
is it-
dimensions.
right? What are they in your thoughts?
We have many podcast episodes of the two of us
I want to start
kind of
getting into those.
going back and forth on this.
Yeah.
We
Give
have
a quick answer.
Because it'll be more cohesive and quick.
Yeah, well, I'm a both and girly. Okay, I think that yes, people can die and their spirit for whatever reason can remain here on this plane of existence versus crossing on. You know, I think that that's like kind of what I would call as like a purgatory. You know, I do also believe though. I think a lot of this phenomena, I think we are a lot more powerful than we know and can create a lot of this. So, for example, the shadow figure that you saw on all fours crawling at you, to me, I believe that that is a physical manifestation of all of the like fear and energy from the people going in there and getting the shit scared out of them. You know, I think that that is a physical manifestation from humans. So I know you'll go much deeper into that. So surface level answers, I think both, and I think there are both forms of this.
I think there's validity to that for sure. I think talking about fear, I think something like that, the shadow figure could be something. You've heard David Icke talk about lizard people and different grays that actually consume human fear and negative emotions, and it could be something to that regard. Regardless, I think most of it is, when I say it's the same thing, is like when we have a UFO experience or we have a cryptid experience, we have to look at this from historical context and not just the legends and lore that we've been told. The first thing you'll find when you really dive into this kind of thing is you start going to historic haunted places, right? And there's always the great ghost story that this place has. And people will see these things, these ghosts from these stories. Well, when you do a little bit of deep diving, you'll find out that story never happened. This is at most historical haunted places. It's overwhelming. So when you see that, it takes you down a rabbit hole of like, okay, what's going on there, right? Then you go back to antiquity and you look at stories that started religions, okay? And you start to see, if you look back through the Bible even, stories that started actual religions, these things in the sky, lights, buzzing noises, stigmata even, like radiation burns, anybody? Like these are all things that people are experiencing when they have UFO experiences, or what we call UFO experiences in modern times. So I think to answer your question, what we call a ghost is the same way that what we call a UFO now is what somebody called an archangel back in antiquity. I think it depends on the time period you live in and the culture you're a part of and the way that you perceive this weird activity that's literally been happening since antiquity. Do I think these things are intelligent? Yes. Do I think these things are from another plane, but within our same reality? Yes. I equate it to something I call haunting ants. If you go by an ant farm, you're in their same physical reality, okay? But they cannot comprehend you. If you take an ant farm and you watch them do their thing, and then one day you just decide to shine a red light in their ant farm when they do a specific thing, and then you keep doing that every time they do this specific thing, well, now you're literally haunting these creatures, these ants. They'll never be able to make sense of what it is. Just like I almost just don't think that we will either. I think when you're seeing these things, these ghosts or anything, I think it's something that's communicating with us through symbols in a way that we can fully comprehend it and understand it. It's either that, or it's quite literally a nefarious sort of thing that's like either living on the moon or like living in our existence that does sort of consume our emotions. But I want to
I think time slips are more likely than that.
possible, but like
Mm.
time slips, I wouldn't be intelligent, right? Like not to the sense that we have
Correct.
experienced. I
Well,
mean, we've got
they could be.
literal like voices coming through radios responding to us. We've had the shortwave radio switch to a station. We start whistling at it in 3 whistles, and it whistles back
Yeah,
at us.
that's
Like
intelligent communication.
so, I think that to me sounds more like lizard person shit, right? Literally, like something in this other dimension that is with us
Other
that we can
dimension.
see. But other dimension is funny. Most people that will use that word in our world. if
So
you
you're
ask-
saying like another Damien doing exactly what that Damien's doing, just in a different timeline.
No, I think if you're looking at a living creature, like if you have a goldfish at home and
Mhm.
you're looking at it through its fishbowl and you put your hand in there and do something to it, well, okay, it's never going to understand what just happened. But it might in its
Gotcha.
little goldfish brain be like, well, fuck, that's the dead person of something.
It's basically like different dimensions. Like if you look up the physics of dimensions, right? When we look at like 2D versus 3D, you know, one of them, it looks like a line, right? Because that's all that you can perceive in that dimension. Versus if you look at it in 3D, it can look like, you know, you turn it the other way and you can see that it's actually a wall and all of these things, right? So when you look at obviously it's only theoretical because we can't actually know what like a 5th dimension or something would look like, but probably they would see things like you know, how we would perceive it would be a shadow or a ball of light or a shadow that is able to walk through a wall or things like this, right? So things that we experience now, that would be paranormal activity or potentially a UFO experience or something like that, that it's like because it's happening in this other dimension that we can't even comprehend how that would look like, just like the ants wouldn't be
But
able to
it's-
comprehend us, you know?
But it's like here in our reality, we just can't see it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
and here's a great example. We can't see germs. Okay. They're in the air and they will affect us in negative ways. They can even kill us if we let them. So it's almost, it's kind of like that, because one thing that we have definitely seen, there's no way around this. There are positive versions of this
Mhm.
and there are negative versions of this.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
again, it goes back to antiquity and stories that people have been saying since indigenous cultures of there's something going on in the spirit world, good and bad. There's a war going on, good and bad, and it's all around us at all times. We just can't see it. I think when you go looking for it and you engage it, that's when you start having all these experiences, kind of like we do on a day-to-day basis.
Man.
When this first happened with you guys, did you feel it was a curse or did you accept it as it was and learn to love it?
Our old slogan was "fuck around and find out."
Yeah.
Like we
Love that.
Curious.
we collect old grimoires, like we experiment with things, we do weird things to see what this all is. A curse, I don't know, do those exist? Probably. I mean the bell.
Let's just answer it with, do we have at all times various protection candles going
Yeah.
at the house? Yes.
All the time, they're burning right now.
Yes.
yeah,
The
yeah,
answer to that is yes.
yeah.
Man.
Like, what was your first thoughts like when you had to with the shadow people? Like, were you fearful at first, or did you learn to understand that maybe are they there to protect you? I mean,
They're not there to
When-
protect you.
When I
Okay.
was a kid, to be honest, it took me a
No, no, no.
long time to even come to terms with to even accept what it is, you know, because and I find this a lot with people who experience these things, your rational brain takes over and you want to write things off, right? This is exactly why people who are skeptics, and if you want to be a skeptic, you're going to be a skeptic forever, because the ability of the human mind to write literally anything off is, you know, beyond words. We cannot measure it. You can write anything off. And so growing up as a kid, seeing this, you know, you roll over in bed and you see it and you kind of blink your eyes and you blink your eyes some more and then it goes away and you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, I'm just seeing things, you know. And then you grow up, you experience more things, and then, you know, fast forward to now, it's like, oh, okay, like you finally are at a place where you can start accepting these things. But I do think that a lot of this stuff, you know, all encompassing with paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, any conspiracy theory stuff, like a lot of this challenges our the norm, right? It challenges our beliefs, our viewpoints of the world around us. And I think for a lot of people that is a very difficult thing to accept, that perhaps the world around us is not actually the world that we think we know. And there's
Simulation.
things that we don't
Sure,
know
simulation
what they
theory.
are, right? Yes, exactly. And so
Yeah.
I think that
Mhm.
that is also almost like a protective mechanism, right? You know, of our
Right.
like the fight or flight response. Like, this is outside of our comfort zone. Like, nope, this doesn't exist. There's nothing here. You just blinked your eyes and it was just a trick of the eye. There's
Poof.
nothing there, you know? So I think it's definitely a process. And I think for most people, unless you have some sort of, you know, crazy undeniable experience like Chris Bledsoe had with seeing the, you know, giant balls of fire or whatever.
Which he
Right.
still is able to summon those things, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a process of like coming to even like acknowledge, let alone accept what is actually happening.
Okay.
Hmm.
Love it. That's awesome.
Man, it's wild. My last question
It
for
is
you, because I don't
wild.
want to keep you guys too long. What's your feelings on the missing 411? Because we have some ties to that being here in upstate New York with the Adirondacks and the David Paulides documentary. That the Tom Messick, he was actually a Troy native, is where we're from, me and Anthony. So I went to high school with his grandson, and that whole documentary was very interesting to us and some other missing 411 cases. So what's your feeling on that?
I think
I'm deferring to you on that.
Yeah, look, I think those things are interesting because it's funny that you mentioned the whole 411 thing to me, because when we started noticing even like certain, call it certain things, certain numbers, ghosts, shadow people, these things sort of pop off. When we talk about anything that involves high strangeness, my easy answer for, I think, the listeners, and to not go down a 5-hour rabbit hole, which I am always want to do, is
Love rabbit holes.
yes. I mean, it's just funny. I literally I was like, oh, look, I've got these dollars just next to me. I mean, it's stupid. But
Right.
I think, you know, Palladian stuff is a bit out there and wild, which I love, for sure. But any of this stuff that we give attention to, it's almost like it generates this weird sort of truth to it, if that makes sense, right?
Mhm.
That's probably my best answer without going off on a tirade.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? I think is the more important question.
Yeah. See, I think it's crazy, that whole story with just the Tom Messick alone, because they didn't find a single piece of his clothing. He had a water bottle and a candy wrapper in his pocket. They never found any of that. And for him to be 89 years old or 80 years old, he was blind in one eye, had a bum leg. To navigate that terrain is very difficult.
Well,
I know there's a lot of caves up there. I don't
lean
know.
to the I lean to the alien abduction, because all the missing 401 happens in national parks, and you have the whole conspiracy with Eisenhower, and making the deal.
you're talking about like Valiant Thor and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't know.
Have you heard about that guy that was in Vegas and he was not an urban explorer, I'm sorry, like a desert explorer YouTube star?
Mhm.
And he was out one time doing this YouTube thing out there in the desert, and he comes across this weird cave, and it made him start to feel like really sick and weird, this and that. And he was hearing some noises from it, from what I understand. And people on his channel were like, well, go back to it. He couldn't find it when he went back to it. So he keeps going back. Turns out he's still missing, right? You've also got the story. What's that guy's name? You'd have to look it up. It happened in an airport or something. Some weird guy shows up with a passport from some nation that doesn't exist. And he's like, what the hell? Trying to get through security. He doesn't
from
understand.
Like years ahead, like from like 1,000 years ahead, 100
Other
years
side of the
ahead
wall,
or something.
maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he literally was
I
just
remember
gone.
this.
My favorite story of something like that, because what you're describing, it literally, there's stories that like that over and over and over. And this probably goes to your time slips idea. But there was in Japan, back in like feudal Japan time, okay, there was this craft that washed up on their beaches. And this woman gets out, dressed weird, talking weird. She's like kind of freaked out, doesn't know whatever. And then she kind of disappears, whatever. But she had just washed up on this craft. there's all these weird stories. People have been walking down a sidewalk and all of a sudden they're looking around, the buildings are different and everyone's dressed in 1950s clothing, and then all of a sudden they're back where they were. Is it possible that everything that we're talking about is
Time
literally
travel.
yeah, like accidental time travel, which time slips to your point?
Yeah,
I think
dimensional
because the
glitches.
alien abduction thing to me is interesting, because what is that? You know, I've gone so back and forth. You think it's government?
Yeah, that's the one where I think that's I think that's a lot more likely to be our own government than an actual alien abducting someone.
Correct. And
I just want it to be that.
Yeah.
you want it to be government or alien?
No alien. You know, I just
Okay,
look
it's
at my
like-
name, Area 51A. Come on.
Imagine like you get abducted.
You are on
look at-
fire, I think.
Like, hey man, you know what I mean? Like it would be, you know. But I think alien abduction is interesting because why would they be abducting us? Like for thousands of years, there's been these abduction stories. Why would they still be trying to cut into us to see what we are? They should know at this point. All it takes is us cutting into a cow once or twice, and we know. Could it be that some nefarious force that like feeds off that negative energy, or could it be an almost accident? You guys are familiar with Travis Walton?
Oh yeah, Fire in the Sky.
So when he was abducted, he'd gotten like he went to look at this craft and he got hit by this beam and like hurt him and like threw him back, and the people that were there saw it. Well, then he gets abducted. Well, maybe it's because this technology that he stumbled across accidentally hurt him. Like if you go and you look at a running engine that's been on, you put your hand on it, it's going to burn, right? Maybe this thing accidentally hurt him and they abducted him to fix him, to fix the mistake. Who knows?
Right.
God,
Okay.
forgive me on all the roles. You can't ask me about abductions to end the
I
conversation.
want to believe that aliens like are there to help us, if anything, you know, because they're so much smarter than us, and they're so
They always
ahead of
pop
us,
up
and-
around nuclear power plants and shit
Well,
like that too.
All right, nuclear power plants. Why would they show up there? There's two reasons. for that.
Nicole, I got him going.
One, they
It's prone to being existential, and I don't like this theory because it's probably going to happen. And it just makes me want to go like, what's the
Correct.
point of any of this anyway? I'm going to go
Well-
jump in front of a car.
there's one of two things. Like there's beings that either live in our oceans, which is most certainly true. If you look at UFO videos coming in and out of the oceans all the time,
Yep.
we know more about space than we do our oceans. That's one thing. Then you've also got what we were talking about earlier, this other reality that exists coincides with ours that can be affected if we do stupid shit like detonating an atomic bomb. So it makes sense that these beings might see us doing stuff like that and be like, Like if they live in the ocean, there's some species we've never seen or encountered. If they're that technologically advanced and they know we're doing this, that would obviously affect them because, so
Sure.
it could be that to help us. I don't know about that. I think to help us, you have to ask, why would they help us? And it would either be to help themselves or maybe I'm a pessimist there and maybe they are just the good guys.
Well, I think it goes back.
I always
to,
thought we were a bad experiment gone wrong.
Yeah. What say that again?
I said I always thought we were just a bad experiment gone wrong, and they just left
Humans.
us out here
Probably.
and they
We
laugh at us.
Anunnaki made us. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So,
Fallen angels and the Anunnaki.
Oh,
Yep.
One bad night. That's it.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
for
This has been an
sure.
awesome episode, guys. This has been an
Yeah.
awesome episode. It's been a great time. We really, truly appreciate your time. We'd love to have you guys back on again down the road for sure. I mean, we can go in so many rabbit holes, obviously, as you can see here. But why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you once again?
Yeah, so you can find us, our two podcasts. We have the Real Ghosts of podcast, and we have Parapeculiar podcast. Real Ghosts of is our investigations. Parapeculiar is interviews and going down weird rabbit holes. So if anybody likes y'all, you'll definitely like Parapeculiar for sure. You can find us on Instagram under those two names, The Real Ghosts of Parapeculiar, and the place that we probably spend the most internet time is our Patreon. It is patreon.com/parapeculiar, where you can come hang out and get weird with us. We do live streams multiple times a month. We are doing an investigation in the museum of a new item that we got on Friday. So yeah, if you are interested in doing weird experiments, investigating haunted items, things like that, come hang out with us on Patreon.
Well, yeah, and so everything she said, and if you find us on Instagram or social media or whatever, slide into our DMs because we're constantly on the road, and we always just put the feelers out there. We say, hey, we're going to be in this state doing this weird stuff. If you want to get weird with us, or you know some weird stuff you want us to go look at, just reach out to us. So we let people just kind of hang out with us and do that with us as well. So.
Yeah.
Reach out to us.
I love that. Well, hopefully we could link up
Absolutely.
and maybe check out Pinewood Cemetery here in upstate New York.
Oh, yeah.
If you're ever in the
Absolutely.
area.
Here in Florida,
Do it.
that'd be awesome.
Awesome.
We will be going to Disney in October for our birthday.
In
so-
Florida, yep.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Link up. He's about 45
You
minutes
might
away.
definitely
Link up,
feel weird
45.
around that place.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I wanted to always do is get into Walt Disney's apartment there
Yeah.
and investigate that because they have his old apartment. No one can get in. It's awesome.
I wish you could like
Huh.
sneak down into the tunnels.
Well, if you want to, I'll tell you how you do it. You have to, you get some of the foamy tablets, Alka-Seltzer, and fake a heart attack or a stroke because then they get
That's
you underground.
amazing.
real
There you
quick.
go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Get you
Okay.
there.
And then when the docs
That's
leave, you
good.
slip out and go find somewhere.
Go
Yeah.
find,
find
Go find
someone
those
to
secret rooms.
So, oh yeah,
That's it.
absolutely.
That's it. Well, awesome
See all
episode,
the
guys.
secret
Once again,
children
we truly,
coding in Disney.
we truly appreciate your guys' time. Make sure you guys go check them out over at. I'm gonna mess it up again. Where's my phone? What is it again? One more time.
And Parapeculiar.
The Parapeculiar. I was gonna mess it up. I knew I was.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you guys' time, and we will see you guys on Monday with another episode of
Appreciate
Conspiracy
you guys.
Chaos.
Thank-
Later.
Thank you so much.
Follow the breadcrumbs, follow moonlight schemes. Hidden agendas ain't as crazy as they seem. Voices in the dark, amplifying dreams.